Team Awesome is back!
Thank you, Varian. That's right. Tangled Talk with Team Awesome is back. We are on episode 46, Race to the Spire. This episode was directed by Philip Pignati, written by Jeremy Shipp, storyboards by Adrian Barrios, Isabel Geddig, and Janessa Warren. And we begin with a shot of the Spire before joining Calliope and the Keeper inside their residence. The Keeper begins to quiz Calliope, asking her to show him what all she has learned. As she exhibits various magical items to the Keeper, she realizes that the shape-shifting cloak of Vertumnus is missing. But the Keeper brushes her off and asks where the mind trap is. The mind trap, Calliope explains, is a talisman that can control the minds of anyone who has sworn loyalty to the Moonstone, like the Brotherhood. Calliope has hidden it away in an enchanted box that can only be opened with a special key that she has in her possession. The Keeper demands the key, but as he is doing so, it is revealed that he is actually Cassandra, who is wearing the cloak. As she once again asks for the key, Calliope and the baby Kurlock make a run for it, barring themselves in a room. Okay, I'd like to point out that the very first thing I noticed is that as we enter, so it pans down from the exterior of the Spire, and then it shows inside, and the Keeper's talking. But as he's talking, this opening shot, he's looking at the statue of Zhan Tiri.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I was like, it's right there. I was like, oh, I know what's happening right
I didn't think it was Cass. I thought it was Zhan Tiri. I thought it was Zhan Tiri who was being sneaky.
Exactly. I thought it was going to be Zhan Tiri too. And I'm like, oh, did Cass even know what she was looking at? Dang, son.
She's like, I look good. And then it was Cass. I was like, oh.
I have so many questions about this swearing loyalty to the Moonstone Brotherhood thing, but that's for rants on Tumblr. Okay, so as the Kurlock guards the door, Calliope goes in search of something. Finding a green bottle, which I want one of. I love that bottle.
Mm-hmm.
She quickly takes her desk and begins to write a letter. And I don't mean like a real one. I'll take a replica. I love that bottle. You guys don't realize. I collect bottles. I love bottles. Okay. Just as Cassandra begins to break through the door, Calliope attempts to open the bottle, but drops the cork. The door explodes as Cass breaks in, and Calliope hides the bottle and note behind her back. Walking in, Cass builds a cage around the Kurlock, totally rude, and says that it really, and her tone of voice is so mild. I was noticing that, she always speaks to animals mildly now,
Mm-hmm.
they stay. It's just it's just this weirdness about her. And she tells Calliope that if she doesn't give her the key, she will tear the Spire apart. Calliope, of course, corrects her pronunciation of Spire. As Cass backs Calliope into a corner, Calliope asks why Cass wants a mind trap, when the Spire has so many other great things to offer. She shows Cass one of the hard candies of ambrosia, accidentally dropping it at Cass's feet and giving her just enough time to put the cork back in the bottle while Cass is distracted. With the key and note inside, the bottle disappears in a puff of green smoke, and an angered Cass pins Calliope against the wall with Black Rock Spike. Using more spikes to intimidate her, Cass asks where she sent the bottle. We cut to the Snuggly Duckling, where Rapunzel is playing guitar. Eugene and the thugs are cheering for her, while Shorty swings from the chandelier. He bumps into Eugene, sending him flying into Vlad's arms, making both men laugh, which is, adorable.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, it's adorable that Eugene's just in the background clapping along. It's so cute. And then, this didn't bother him at all. Dude, the guy's been drinking. He just has. I'm sorry. Talking about.
I saw a post that was like, I love how after Cassandra's revenge, the first place they show New Dream is at a bar.
They're like, you know what? We
getting their drink on.
Vlad then drops Eugene. As Rapunzel continues to play, a bright green beam of light shines down from the ceiling, and the whole pub readies for battle. From the green light, a bottle appears, and Rapunzel excitedly states that it's an enchanted message bottle. She's always wanted to receive one, and Attila happily tells her that it is in fact for her. And, okay, so, did you notice, random dude?
Yeah,
I'm telling you, that's Lance's replacement when he's on break.
See, I've seen him in the background in season 3 a lot, and I just don't know why he stood out, but he has always kind of stood out to me. I just keep seeing him, and now I'm now he's, in the pub. He's even, swinging a mace at this bottle thing, and I'm like, dude, are you trying to be a thug? That's adorable! Who is this thug? I love him. I stan him.
You don't think...
It's Matthews.
You don't think it could be our Flynn Foster, do you?
Oh, that would be insane.
You don't think that...
You know what?
My sweet baby boy could have been hiding in the background this entire time.
You say that, and I don't think it, but how awesome and crazy would it be if they'd actually had him in the background in Corona all this time?
That would be insane.
Really cool. Oh my gosh.
I would have a conniption. I'm having a conniption right now.
No.
Guys, I can't. Nope, we can't talk about it anymore. I'm gonna start crying.
Okay.
I had a moment today. I was looking up because the fan wiki said something different for how to spell Curlock, and my brain was tired, so I couldn't remember how to spell it. So I went to my names list, and I just got all choked up because I was like, I might be able to add Bastion to this in like 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna cry. Can't cry at work. Oh my god. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled program.
So the note says, Rapunzel, help. Cat attacking Spire, keep this. Rapunzel realizes that Calliope must be in trouble, and finding the key at the bottom of the bottle. I also want the key. I also collect keys. So I want the key in the bottom, okay? She decides that they need to get to the Spire as fast as possible to help her. Eugene reminds Rapunzel that Calliope lied to them and almost got them eaten by a Curlock, and though Rapunzel isn't her biggest fan, she has to help her. And then Eugene says, like, the cutest thing in the world. He goes,
gross.
It's just my luck to fall in love with the most compassionate person in the world. And there's, like, not a hint of irony or eye-rolling or anything. He means every word of it, and New Dream is the best, and they just keep being more of the best, and I love them, and it's wonderful.
So
and
cute.
Gross, and I love it. And I love that they're like now going off on adventures, like just the two of them.
Yep.
So we cut to somewhere in town.
For when they're married, so yeah.
Right? It's just gonna be the two of them.
So we get the two of us.
So we cut to somewhere in town where Varian is helping them prep the air balloon for flight. He has chemically treated the thrusters so that the flames will burn longer and hotter. Like, he specified that they're like basically hotter than physically possible, but they're gonna do it anyway.
He's like, it's gonna burn hotter than any fire ever, and it's like, Varian, how?
Varian, honey, that's going to melt the burners. Varian, honey. But these hot flames are going to make them fly faster. So yeah, Boyd just literally added jet propulsion to a hot air balloon. As Varian is explaining this, he glares at Eugene, who is trying to touch a bucket of glue. He tries to touch various other things, and when Varian keeps telling him not to touch that, until finally he tries to touch the thrusters, making Varian yell, "Don't touch that, it's gonna blow!" Eugene recoils in fear, and Varian laughs, because he was just messing him. And so, like, Team Awesome is back, and this is great. And I honestly love that, like, Varian is comfortable enough with the group to do things like that, you know? Because it's like, when you look at him in Season 1 before he turned, basically his interactions with everybody was hero worship, and now they're like friends. And I'm like, this is great. I actually really love seeing how he's like doesn't idolize them anymore. He looks up to them, just like, you know, younger people tend to look up to older people, but he's not like, oh god, you are a god and I am a peon. So
I loved Eugene's scream.
Oh my god.
He felt that.
You know,
That was so good.
had so much fun recording this episode.
Right.
Like, dude, he had so much great stuff to say. It was another episode of a lot of great Eugene one-liners, like, serious. Grabbing their attention, Rapunzel explains that while it took them weeks to reach the Spire on foot, they will reach it in just a day with a balloon and a direct route. Only problem is they have to fly through Creston Lock, a frozen sea that is miles and miles of deadly frozen wasteland, but Rapunzel isn't worried. As Varian steps away from the balloon, he trips, and he finds that the boots have been glued to the ground by Eugene. It is retribution for Varian scaring him earlier because, as he says, Eugene Fitzherbert never forgets. I so thought that was going to come up again in the episode. I really
No, I guess they forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
They did. Back at the Spire, Cassandra is attempting to open the locked box with her powers, but to no avail. They're going to need the key to open it, and Cass is sure Rapunzel won't hand it over to them. But Zhan Tiri tells her that while she may not hand it over to them, they do have other ways to get it. Now flying through the air in the balloon, Rapunzel is painting in her journal. Eugene reminisces about when they used the cauldron to fly the caravan through the air, and Rapunzel turns to that page, showing a hilarious drawing of Eugene's terrified face. Why do you keep drawing me so scared in these? I paint it like I see it. And I also looked at them like not afraid to tease each other. Like, I love their relationship so much.
Yeah.
Eugene states that he looked much more handsome when he's scared. Rapunzel throttles the engine, sending him flying backwards, a very similar scared expression on his face. And it is mirrored by Pascal, and Eugene assumes that he's just teasing him, but in reality, Pascal has realized where they are. As they arrive at Creston Lock, we see a huge frozen waves with sharp, jagged edges. The air is bitterly cold as they fly through the frozen sea. Like, honestly, these waves are so high that I'm like, something supernatural froze this lake at some point. Because, like, I mean, I've seen some...
What do we know that can create snow?
Zhan
Tiri, the blizzard.
It has been thawed since then, and that's interesting. But honestly, one time in winter, I was like on a bus through Colorado, and I was going through the Rockies, and I saw a geyser that had gone off and frozen solid going straight up. So I'm like,
That's cool.
That's pretty cool. Things like that can happen.
I mean, I think Corona would have been eternally frozen.
Probably.
I feel like that's something they discuss when they're talking about stopping the blizzard.
Yeah.
They're like, if the blizzard hits us, we're gonna be frozen forever, and it's like, okay.
The bear is bitterly cold as they fly through the frozen sea, so cold that poor Pascal freezes for a moment to Eugene's shoulder. They fly past the frozen mosasaurus, and Rapunzel remarks that at this pace they'll be out of the lock in no time. Suddenly, something whizzes through the air and slices a hole in the balloon. They're both confused as they think it had to be a wave, but they weren't anywhere close to one. As the balloon starts to plummet, Eugene hugs Rapunzel tight, bracing them for impact, which is, like, really cute, because not only is he protecting her, he's got this utterly terrified face right before he grabs her, so it's like he was holding on to her for his own sanity as well as her safety.
She really looks cute. At him like, what the?
Well, like, I mean, he does know that, you know, if need be, her hair can protect them.
Oh, that's true.
So,
that's true.
You know, good idea. He's like, you know, if we're gonna hit something sharp and pointy, we're gonna hit something sharp and pointy, my future fiance can just go poof with her hair, and we'll be fine.
Crashing to the ground, Rapunzel double checks that everyone is okay before stating that they need to start sewing so they can get out of here before nightfall because it ain't gonna get any warmer. As they work on patching up the balloon, the wind howls. Suddenly, Calliope comes out of nowhere, running towards them, stating that she saw them go down. Rapunzel's happy she's okay, but is curious what happened with her and Cass. Calliope explains that she escaped, but that Cass is still attempting to get to the mine trap, which she enlightens them on. Eugene is confused as to what she would want with Adira and Hector, and Calliope doesn't know either. What do I look like, her biographer?
I realized while writing the notes, I was like, wait a minute. Does anybody actually know that Kieran's part of the Brotherhood other than Edmund and the rest of the Brotherhood?
Yes, Adira said so at the Great Tree.
Oh, okay.
Adira's like myself, Hector, and Kieran. Very
okay. I just, because they didn't mention Kieran, so I was suddenly like, wait, does anybody else know?
They brushed over that because I've seen Adira and Hector in action, but they're like, oh yeah, and Varian's dead, but he was in Amber, so he's not a threat. Like,
and Kieran, but it's fine.
Yeah, because I'm like, guys, we might need to be worried about that.
He's like, look, he didn't help us in Cassandra's revenge. Obviously, he can't fight.
He was just chilling.
I forgot she mentioned it, but yeah, I'm still like,
yeah.
Did the writers remember?
I love how Kieran gets out of the amber and he's just like low-key like vibing now. He doesn't care about what's going on. He's like, I'm just going to harvest my pumpkins. Varian, you do whatever you want, son.
Everything's fine. I'm going to
He's just vibing.
He hasn't said hello to Edmund once, probably.
Well, you know, if Edmund hasn't gone out to Old Corona, I doubt Kieran has gone up to the castle. So he's just like, nah, chill.
Edmund's
it's
too
good.
busy doing tours.
Yep.
And giving his son awkward conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
Everybody, please read The Crows and the Bees.
Do it.
So good.
Shameless plug. So the one thing I'm proud of writing. Oh my god.
As Rapunzel states that they cannot let Cass get to the mine trap, a rumbling begins underneath their feet, and they see something moving under the ice. Eugene tells Pascal to sew like you've never sewn before, just as multiple icy vodniks emerge from the ice. Calliope runs away screaming as they begin to attack the group, and Rapunzel and Eugene go into battle mode, fighting them off. Rapunzel gets Eugene's attention and yells, "Twirl attack!" He asks in confusion if they have a move called twirl attack, and she replies that they're about to. And I love this because, like, this is such, like, on the same mindset. Like, she's like, I have just named an attack that we're about to make up. He's like, I know exactly how to do the attack. It's just like, it's so great. I love it.
They're so
Their
extra. I
mental
love them.
synchronization.
Jumping into Eugene's arms, he spins Rapunzel around, smacking Vonnegut with her hair until he throws her in the air for the final spinning flourish. Twirl attack, first try, all right.
They're so.
He's just too cute.
Yes, he's so great in this episode. I mean, he's so great all the time, but he's super great in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they have names for their fighting moves. It's just like...
Oh, I did want to mention, I might have not read the whole thing, but I feel like somebody was just asking you, Becky, about Vodniks. Like, hey, are we ever going to see those guys again? Like, right before this episode came out.
Okay, so what it was is that when we had that promo from Asia, from Disney Channel Asia, like, it had the clip of the twirl attack, and you can kind of see the Vodniks in the background, and we're like, okay, it's the Vodniks, and then, like, if you got, like, individual screen grabs, they did not look identical to Vodniks on account of, like, you know, motion and animation. So we were like, are those Vodniks? And then we were like, okay, so we haven't seen those Vodniks or whatever they are yet, so are we going to see them soon? So that's what that was all about.
Okay. Cool.
So we knew they were coming, but we weren't sure when, and I'm glad that they were actually Vodniks, so as to not confuse us further.
Yeah.
Pascal has gotten to the balloon airborne once more, and they make a run for it as the Vonneguts regain their footing and chase them. They jump into the balloon only to realize Calliope is still on the ground. Rapunzel extends her hair to Calliope and snatches her up just before the Vonneguts get her. Rapunzel remarks how fast they are and begins to compliment them on, like, their leg muscles, but one of them throws an axe at her. Eugene deflects it and says, can't she pay you a simple compliment?
I actually got my friend Anthony into Tangled today because I was working on it at work, and he saw that clip and he was like, did Eugene just deflect an axe with his sword? And I was like,
Yes.
yeah. And he's like,
Nice.
I think I need to watch this show. And I'm like, it rains badgers later in the episode. And he was like, oh, I definitely have to watch
it's your
this
D&D
show
friend?
now. Yeah.
Okay, because I will mention it when we get to the line, but the line that everybody knows what line I'm talking about is, like, apparently that's really vibing with D&D players, like, in general. So, like...
It's the most pure chaotic thing ever.
Yeah,
I'm
yes.
like, Eugene is really chaotic good, isn't he? Oh my god.
It's awesome. Fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
So they ascend, and the Vodniks attempt to jump into the balloon, but just miss it, leaving two of them dangling off of the crest of one of the waves. As Calliope takes all the credit for the rescue, Rapunzel realizes that the two dangling Vodniks are hanging over a pit of icy spikes, and they need to rescue them. Calliope is confused by this, as the Vodniks did just try to kill them, but Eugene obliterate is the word she used.
Yeah.
But Eugene tells her that it's just not how Rapunzel works. If she can, she'll always help someone in need. They circle back, and Rapunzel is just able to catch the two Vodniks as they fall, depositing them safely back with their companions. As they fly away, the Vodniks wave in confused thankfulness, and I love that little clip. Like, I don't know why the first time I saw it, I'm like, oh my god, that's just the cutest thing ever. They're just like, thank you, bye. What just happened? We were attacking you. We just tried to obliterate you, and you saved us. We don't understand. It's really cute, though. Also, that, like, particular line about sorry, that's just not how the princess works reminded me a lot of Cass being, I don't have time for dreams, and Eugene being all like, honey, are you hanging out with the wrong princess? Just like, Eugene is constantly being like, guys, don't you know how Rapunzel works by now?
He's like, I spent like 2 days with her and I fully understood how she works.
Yes.
But you all have been with her for a long time too, and
At least
it's not
Calliope
clicking.
like one day and then like in like a year apart. So she's got an excuse. I love how Calliope, though, if you think about it, I love Calliope's mindset of, oh no, Cassandra's attacking me, I better send this stuff to Rapunzel. Just like, of all the places, you're just like, nope, to Rapunzel. Okie dokie. Arriving at the Spire, Rapunzel hopes that they aren't too late and that Cass hasn't yet opened the box. At this point, Calliope asks where the key is, and she shows her that it's safely in her bag, with Pascal acting as her security system. Her personal I mean, that was so cute. Gosh. Landing and approaching the Spire, they enter the building in search of Cass. As they enter, Calliope has a diabolical look on her face as she grabs the box containing the mine trap. She asks Rapunzel for the key so she can double-check that it's still inside, but Rapunzel refuses, saying that the box should stay closed. Rapunzel asks where Cass is, and she readily reveals herself coming down the stairs. Rapunzel isn't willing to fight her, and Cass won't fight her if and Cass won't fight her if she just gives her the key. It is at this moment that Eugene asks what is going on with the blue hair, and a peeved Cass draws her sword. And I love that. Like, just, as long as we're all asking questions, what is with the blue hair?
What does he say? I've been sitting on this one for a while.
I also like that, like, on Tumblr, people, like, took that clip and were like, everybody who's interested in Varian's hair streak, this is us. Rapunzel tells Cass that she has hidden the key, but Calliope tells Cass that it's in her bag. Turns out this isn't the real Calliope, but Zhan Tiri in disguise, using the cloak from the beginning of the episode. Because, like, she can't shapeshift or nothing. I seriously don't think Zhan Tiri's, like, even close to full power. I think she's, like, simply has a corporeal body at this point.
I was about to say something, and then I realized neither of you would get it because you haven't played that video game, so never mind. Yes.
Rapunzel demands to know where Calliope is, and Zhan Tiri tells her that she'll be fine as soon as Rapunzel gives Cass what she wants. Confused, Rapunzel asks who she is, but Cass cuts her off, taking Rapunzel's bag from her shoulder, and also saying, introductions come later.
And
I love how she
takes
that.
it.
I also love how she's like, introductions later, and I'm like, do you know who this is, Cassandra? Like, does Cass actually know who she is?
By dialogue that happens later, I'm gonna say no.
No, exactly. I don't think she just. Oh, she's like, introductions later, and not like, yeah, who are you, by the way?
She just calls her Booberry, like we do.
Oh. And Zhan Tiri's like, I'll deal with that for now. But the key is not in the bag. It turns out Rapunzel knew that wasn't the real Calliope. She knew something other than a wave had cut the balloon. Zhan Tiri used a sharp boomerang to cut it. Sokka callback.
And I was like, oh, this is nice and not beating me over the head like they do in Dragon Prince.
And then Calliope shows up only moments later, not once correcting Rapunzel's pronunciation of Spire. So, I mean, honestly, I know a lot of people were like, what, a boomerang? And I, on the other hand, am like, boomerang. Okay, I wasn't expecting that, but I can jive with it. That's fine. Boomerang. Okay.
I thought it was so funny.
Zhan Tiri's proficient in boomerang. Go figure.
Cool.
Zhan Tiri states that she enjoyed her trip with Rapunzel and that it taught her an invaluable lesson. Rapunzel's weakness is compassion. She went out of her way to help the Vodniks because she felt sorry for them, which Rapunzel says that some would consider that a strength. At that moment, Zhan Tiri throws her boomerang, knocking over a candle and revealing the real Calliope, who is tied up and dangling over a cluster of black rock spikes. I'd like to point out that Cass gagged her, and I bet that happened immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no way Cass is like, I'm going to tolerate this until I can't tolerate it anymore. She's like, nope, I'm beating you to the punch. You're not getting a chance to talk. Rapunzel demands that they let her go, but Cassandra only raises one of the rocks, weakening the rope holding Calliope aloft. Zhan Tiri tells her to relinquish the key, or Calliope will become a permanent artifact of the Spire. At this moment, Calliope proves that she really is her by correcting her pronunciation of Spire. She gets the gag off, and actually, it's Spire. Oh, Calliope, never change. Or change a lot, one or the other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once again, Cass demands the key, and Pascal hands it to Rapunzel. Cass tells Rapunzel that she doesn't want to hurt Calliope, but she will. At that moment, Zhan Tiri's boomerang comes flying through the air and knocks the key out of Rapunzel's hand and into hers. I like how, the first pass, Rapunzel just, moves her hand, but it's the return pass that catches the key. It's everybody's boomerangs come back,
Eugene and Rapunzel, not proficient in boomerang. They failed. They failed their checks there.
They gotta practice that one.
They did. They need to name it. It's a move. Opening the box, it reveals a blue stone bearing the mark of the Brotherhood, and once activated, Cassandra will have the members of the Brotherhood under her control. Rapunzel tries to take it from Cass, asking what she wants with them, and Cass states that you can't have a war without soldiers, princess, and I'd like to say to Cassandra, that's 3 people. 3 people are not an army.
Yeah. You don't even have Edmund on your side. Edmund took out Adira so fast.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna beat the crap out of the Brotherhood. Just you wait.
Adira doesn't even have Shadow Blade.
Right?
What is she gonna do?
Cass has the Shadow Blade and could give it to Adira.
That's true.
That's true. But currently,
begrudgingly, I assume she would give it to Adira. She'd be like, oh, fine, whatever.
I mean, a lot of people are speculating, are there more people who have technically sworn loyalty to the Moonstone and yada yada yada. So I guess we're gonna have to find all this out because we know nothing but what the episode gave us. But
you're gonna fight with produce. They're just in the middle of battle,
Pumpkins.
Tira's using the Shadow Blade, Hector's using all of his crazy stuff, and then Kieran's just throwing pumpkins and apples at people.
Cassandra makes the cat spike grow once more, and Calliope falls, but Rapunzel's able to use her hair as a slide, making Calliope land in Eugene's arms. Lucky Calliope. And Cassandra and Zhan Tiri head for the exit, but Rapunzel heads them off. And Cass asks if she thinks she can stop them. And it's at this moment that we get one of the best Eugene lines in the history of the episode, of the series. Like, seriously. Oh, maybe not. But you're forgetting that we're in a room full of magical artifacts, and I don't know what any of them do.
Oh,
He's lost it.
God.
He just... and that was his feral moment.
Yeah.
That is so great. He is so manic and so chaotic. And, like... Oh my gosh, somebody get this man a set of dice in a D&D book. I know he wants to play. I've seen it on, like, his Instagram. He wants to play D&D.
Critical Role, please.
Right? Oh my gosh.
Adventure Zone. Literally anyone. Please just take my man.
Yeah. Let him play D&D. You will not regret it.
It'll be so fun. But please record it. Please be on a thing where it can be recorded so I can see it. And Becky can see it. And Kelsey, if she feels like it.
Sure. I don't know what it's talking about, but yeah.
Yeah.
Watching Zachary Levi roleplay D&D would be amazing.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Listening to him do it, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I had to, when he said that line, I literally had to pause and just, like, hold in my laughter because it was after midnight, and I just like rolled over and grabbed my Eugene plushie, and I was like, I love you so goddamn much. I love you so much. I am dying right now. My chest hurts so bad. That's how bad I want to laugh. Oh God,
so funny.
I just wish it, like, I could just imagine them pointing to Rapunzel and she just like face palms. She's like, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh. I haven't even in the ring yet.
Him's chaotic.
So, Eugene pulls the sword from the stone, and yes, originally it was an homage to that sword in that stone, but this is not Excalibur, folks. The floor beneath them vanishes, and they all fall into a secret room below. It looks like the storage basement. Like, seriously, it does. It looks like the basement.
Secret basement. Secret basement.
As Cass reaches for the mine trap, Eugene throws a bottle at her, just narrowly missing her. It erupts in a puff of purple smoke and creates a spinning cloud that causes it to rain badgers.
Badgers! I love badgers so much, so I was like, ah!
Who came up with
great.
that? Like, we need
Also,
something to
like,
happen. Raining badgers.
Okay, I swear to God, in the Tangled universe, badgers and bearcats have, like, reverse personalities because these badgers were surprisingly chill. They were, like... They were grabbing onto people, but they weren't, like, attacking, So, like...
Big fat babies, and I love them. Oh.
Eugene wonders why this was even a thing, and Calliope informs him that it was to end the great badger scarcity of 1312. If only we could end all endangered species with magical rain clouds.
Right.
As Cass and Zhan Tiri try to get away once more, the mine trap is knocked away from them by more falling badgers. A game of keep away begins as each character tries to get the mine trap, but the badgers keep moving it just out of reach. And, like, how great was it when, like, Cass is trying to pry a badger off of Zhan Tiri's head? Like,
It's amazing.
it's like, Zhan Tiri's like, at last I have a body. There's a badger on my head. Calliope begins to question why Rapunzel brought the key back, and she told her to keep it away. But Rapunzel says that the notes only said keep this, and Calliope states that she was trying to write keep this away, but was under attack. So, like, anybody would possibly knows Calliope, shut up, I swear. As a badger falls on Eugene's head, he stumbles backwards and knocks over a large sack, which opens up, revealing a giant floating hand, and the hand tries to squash him as he runs from it. Okay, so, like, honestly, between the giant hand, the panpipes in Calliope's office, the Vodniks, an ice world, it's like the whole thing has a lot of, like, Legend of Zelda vibes to
Right?
me. This particular episode, I'm just like, oh my gosh, there's so much Legend of Zelda stuff. Like, seriously. Like, the giant hand is like the Wall Master, which also appears in Smash Brothers, and it's actually amusing me.
See, that's what I thought. I was like, ooh, Smash Bros.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that it amuses me the number of people who associate with Smash Brothers and not with Zelda, and I'm just like, but it came from Zelda.
Which Zelda game is it from?
I know it's in Ocarina of Time, but it might have appeared before then.
Well, yeah. I mean, it makes sense that more people would associate it with Smash because more people have probably played Smash than Ocarina of Time. Because Smash is an easy one to play. You just grab a bunch of friends, you're like, mash these buttons and you'll kick me in the face.
Yeah, that is true. Because it's like, if you're a Zelda fan, like, Ocarina is one of the most popular Zelda games ever. But if you're not a Zelda fan and you do party games, then, like, Smash Brothers, all the way, man.
Wasn't there a hand in Twilight Princess? It didn't look like that, but it was like in the... Well,
entirely possible.
This isn't
it's entirely possible, because Zelda has this way of it recycles its villain.
Hi, this is a Legend of Zelda podcast now. Welcome.
Tangential! While the whole hand-running thing is happening, Zhan Tiri gets her hands on the mind trap, but Calliope is able to use more of the hard candies of Ambrosia to trip her, making her drop the mind trap. Oh, that's another thing that she has to deal with. Corporeal bodies can trip on candy. Rapunzel and Cass both go for it, but end up tripping over themselves. The hand finally backs Eugene into a corner, and he just slaps it, and it whimpers and shrinks down to the size of a regular hand and skitters back into the bag. Like, honestly,
the best part is when he goes, Stop it. Stop it.
Ow! Stop it.
That's another very D&D thing. It's like, this giant hand is backing you into a corner. I smack it. Roll to smack. Nat 20.
Now it's shrunk down, and now it's running away. Good job. End encounter. Rapunzel finally gets her hands on the mind trap, but is tripped by Zhan Tiri. Pascal jumps onto it as it slides away, dodging badgers until he slides into Eugene's hands. They are just about to leave when Zhan Tiri reveals that she has captured Calliope once again and is planning to use what is pretty much a lamp from Aladdin to trap Calliope for 10,000 years.
I like the specific 10,000 years there. I'm like, nice. Continuing the Aladdin reference.
Exactly, because it's like, if you weren't sure before, this is clearly obvious now. Rapunzel concedes, handing the mind trap over to Cassandra, and Zhan Tiri releases Calliope before she and Cass leave on a black rock pillar. A lot of people are mad at Rapunzel for,
Shocker.
taking one person's life into account over three, when, like, previously a lot of people's arguments were like she chose all of Corona over Varian.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, she's literally in charge of Corona. Like, all of Corona. She's not in charge of the Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Second of all, the idea that she is not allowed to learn and grow from what she considers to be her mistakes, she probably regretted not helping Varian.
Yeah.
And if you notice, she hasn't given up on Cass. And now she's like, oh, I've got a friend right under my nose in trouble. Who am I going to help? The people I can't see, or the friend right under my nose who is in trouble?
Mm-hmm.
So be quiet. Rapunzel's allowed to do what you do.
If you switched Calliope with Varian, the same thing would have happened.
Yeah.
She would have still picked that person over the Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, she knows that, she can probably stop them and still save all of them. It's just in this moment, one person is going to be trapped for 10,000 years, and 3 people are going to get mind controlled, but she can probably break the mind control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know any feasible way to take someone out of a 10,000 year prison. So
she's like, that is too much right now.
Yeah.
She's like, can we just go back to the bar?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. She's taking the one that she knows she can't fix. And, she's trying to be there.
Doing her best.
Person who needs her help right now.
She's doing her best, damn it.
Yeah.
So we cut to later with Eugene putting the sword back in the stone, saying that they really should label these things. Rapunzel is clearly feeling downtrodden about once again having her compassion and caring used against her, so Eugene suggests they leave. She needs a moment alone, though, so Eugene heads out to prep the balloon. Eugene continues to chug his respect women juice and is still a reigning champion of the Best Boyfriend Ever award.
Yep.
Because he's always just right on top of do what Rapunzel actually wants him to do and needs him to do, and not, like, get in her face about stuff. Just then, Zhan Tiri comes up from behind the wall of artifacts, stating that they have yet to be properly introduced. She says that she's surprised Rapunzel has yet to realize who she is, seeing as how they've already met in a way. She tells Rapunzel that over the years, she's taken many forms. A warlock, a demon, even a blizzard. It's at this moment that Rapunzel realizes that she is Zhan Tiri. And I'm just sitting here like, wait, you didn't send the blizzard, you were the blizzard? Oh, Holy criminy. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love this crazy little girl. She's awesome. She's a great villain. She's awesome. See, one of the things I love about Zhan Tiri as a villain is that I'm like kind of a little bit tired of the gray zone villains, the redeemable villains. Like, let villains just be evil for the sake of being evil. I miss villains who are evil for the sake of being evil. It's been so long. So yeah, I'm really pleased that she's like this. Rapunzel is shocked. She doesn't understand why Cass would team up with Zhan Tiri since she knows how evil Zhan Tiri is, but Cass doesn't know. Zhan Tiri's only told her what she needs to know so that Cass can be under her complete control. Now, a lot of people have wondered, does this mean that Cass is being mind controlled right now? And the answer is no. She's being thoroughly manipulated. It's the same way that Rapunzel was under Gothel's complete control in the tower.
Mm-hmm.
It's just she has made her believe that all of the choices have been hers.
Yeah.
If you notice, Zhan Tiri hasn't actually done anything. She's always handed it off to Cass to do.
Yeah.
And this does two things. First of all, it makes Zhan Tiri able to say, what? I haven't actually done anything that bad. And second of all, she's able to say to Cassandra later on, I'm sure this will be used against her, what are you talking about? You've done literally everything. I didn't make you do anything. You chose to do all these things. And she's, not wrong. So, manipulation. Zhan Tiri warns Rapunzel to prepare herself. An eclipse is coming, and when it does, Corona will be nothing more than dust. With that, she uses one of the artifacts, a pink hoop, to disappear, leaving Rapunzel alone and in shock. Outside, Rapunzel and Eugene are taking off in the balloon, waving goodbye to Calliope and her Kurlock. Sorry you blew it, but it wasn't my fault! I mean, she's not wrong. It wasn't her fault. But, oh, Calliope. As they float away, Eugene reassures Rapunzel telling her that they will get Cass back, but at this moment, Rapunzel thinks that Cass is the least of their worries. Back at Cassandra's tower, which she has rebuilt to the top of, she uses her powers to activate the mind trap. A wave of blue light erupts from the tower and spreads across the sky. We see it hit Hector and Adira, taking both of them under their control. As it finally hits Kieran, who is working with Varian in their pumpkin patch, we see his eyes and Mark glow blue for a moment before they return back to normal, and he looks down with a sinister smirk. And then the freaking regular end theme song played. Cheerful and happy. I'm like, dude, what the
I was
heck?
watching that and I was like, oh my god, the Brotherhood, oh my god, and then it's just like,
That's like one of our end crack endings. It was so amazing.
Yeah, it really was.
So we've seen people debating whether or not Kieran is actually under the control or not because he seemingly shook it off. But honestly, that was not the ending of an episode that says everything is okay with Kieran. That was the ending of an episode that said, by the way, even Kieran.
Yeah.
And the fact that Kieran is starting in Corona and, it's just, I mean, and as far as we all know, the other guy's eyes don't glow all the time either.
Yeah.
But we just didn't see the part where they shook it off or, where they blinked and everything's back to normal, or maybe Cass deliberately made Kieran a sleeper agent, but we have no reason to think that Kieran is not under their control. I know that some people have also wondered about Edmund, but
I like the theory that it was on his hand.
Which is a very good point. It's so you see that everybody's eyes and their mark are all glowing, but Edmund lost an arm.
Yeah.
He might not have a mark more. So
I like
Someone
that.
was like, wait, but all of their marks are on their left hands, and Edmund lost his right. And I'm like,
No,
he could have had it on his right.
no, Kieran's on his right.
Oh,
Hector
never
and
mind
Adira's on the
then.
left, Kieran's on the right.
Somebody just
So-
commented that. I didn't look into it. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, no, Kieran's is on his right also.
Okay. So yeah, maybe Eddie's was on his right.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, so we don't
Or
know.
also, he's left the kingdom, destroyed family artifacts. He's like, I'm not sworn to the Moonstone anymore.
Cut ties with the whole shebang. So, but
He's like, Dark Kingdom, who?
I live in Corona now with my son. So, but I mean, okay, so honestly, one of my big speculations on this is that assuming that Edmund is not under mind control, which I absolutely assume Edmund is not under mind control, but assuming he's not under mind control, I foresee this being Varian has to fight Kieran, Lance has to fight Adira, and Eugene probably has to fight Hector, while Rapunzel is fighting Cassandra and or Zhan Tiri. And so I'm just like, ooh, this is going to be a nasty showdown. Like, Eugene's the only one who doesn't have personal ties to this other person, which is why I think those two are going to be the ones that go after them. And I know a lot of them are like, a lot of people are throwing out like the Varian wump and like, oh no, he's going to have to fight his dad and yada, yada, yada. And I respect that. But at the same time, I don't really want Varian's fight with Kieran to be wumptastic. Like, I would actually like it if it was kind of comical. If he was just like alchemy boy and like sticking him to the floor and like locking him in the closet and being like, sorry, but this is better than Amber. And, you know, you're running off and whatnot. But like,
I was going to say, he knows how to stop Kieran. He's done it before. Throw him back in the amber.
I mean, like I was saying, if it's kind of a comical fight, you know, Kieran could just be throwing pumpkins and apples. And Varian's like, stop throwing fruit at me!
Dad, that's our crop! We have to sell those later, Dad! But no, but I actually would love for like Lance versus Adira to be a serious battle. Like, because Lance very rarely gets time to actually shine, and to have him like being like, okay, I already know that Adira is stronger and more skilled than me, but like, I'm going to fight her and try to snap her out of this at the same time while simultaneously trying to not hurt her. So I would really, really like that. Let's see what I had more thoughts on this. What my other thoughts on this? I mean, its chances are very good that Varian versus Kieran will be kind of wumptastic, because, you know, they like pulling the 1-2 punch on that. But it would just be nice for me personally to have them break it up a little bit, you know. But anyway, so things are exciting. Things are like going down.
Yep. I'm worried about every member of the Dark Kingdom right now. Except Eugene. Eugene's fine. And also Varian. He's partially part of the Dark Kingdom.
I mean, that's another thing. I've seen people being like wondering if like the fealty to the Moonstone is hereditary, and I'm like, no, why would it be? You know, it's like Varian and Eugene are not going to be affected by this mind control. So
Eugene didn't know about the Moonstone until like a year ago, so year and a half, I guess.
And
he's like,
Varian also,
who?
yeah, Varian also is like, Moonstone. Okay, I might have translated the spells, but I didn't swear no fealty to it. So. But another thing that people have pointed out is that Cass has sworn fealty to the Moonstone.
Uh-oh.
Point at which... like, oh, wait, I'm not going to do this. Zhan Tiri can be like, oh, yes, you will. You know, so that would be interesting. So...
Way to go, Cass.
So we have 4 episodes left after this, guys. And, like... I know Flynn Posture looks like it's going to be all fun and games. What was it being Ricky and Tom? But I also like. I also think they're going to like break up the role with like a completely plotless episode. Like, I don't think it's going to be filler. I think it will be relevant to just like sideways relevant. Maybe the main plot is relevant. But yeah, so we don't have a lot of time left, guys, and it makes me sad. But we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up in the show for the last 4 episodes. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah. Gosh, now I'm making myself sad. So I'm going to stop.
Don't do that.
But thank you once again for joining us, guys. And if you want a bit of a laugh, you might have missed the whole chair fiasco on my blog the other day. Started by Kelsey asking me what kind of a chair Eugene would be, and I answered her. So then other people started asking me what other characters would be as a chair. I have now tagged all that entire stuff as wind in my chair. So,
that's awful.
I did not come up with that. Somebody like sent me an ask with that, but then I wrote more lyrics for it. Not a lot more lyrics. It's like, I've got the wind in my chair and a spring in my seat and a working recliner. That's it. But,
Love it.
Yeah, so the whole crack chair thing is tagged wind in my chair. If you want to check out that utter nonsense, that chaotic nonsense that I spent hours on the other day, it was fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I got tired of doing it by the end of the night, but I had fun while I was working on it. So, thanks for joining us once again, guys, and we will talk to you all next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.